I'm Nicolette Johnson, and this is Miss Connor at Carolina Beach Elementary School, and today I wanted to do an interview on a recent mural that she's completed here, and I had some questions for her. First question, how did the idea to create a collaborative mural at your school first get started?
We had a parent come who had just recently moved to the island with her family, and she is a very accomplished mural artist from Atlanta, Georgia, yes. An amazing website. We were just like, oh, this is wonderful. And she wanted to do a grant with the North Carolina Arts Council. So me, with my background and just being an arts educator like yourself, that was a wonderful green flag, let's go, especially from North Carolina Arts Council. So she met with Miss Angel, our principal here, and we started a year before the mural, which was installed last year, so it was what, 23? Yeah, and she wrote the grant, and we discussed where we wanted to do it. We went down the hall and which the location was going to be on this side of the building, which wall, but it ended up being in a corridor, which was kind of dark, and it needed to be kind of lit up and bright for the kids to come in because it's a bus access, which, you know, just for mood and environmental and welcome to school, and it just needed some love.
Yeah.
So Miss Angel was really good about that area. So we kind of made the whole grant proposal be like a underwater tunnel, like some aquariums that kids have visited, where the whole environment is covered with marine life, and we also had to use the classroom schedule. She had to come in here and do workshops along with me to do the pieces. Every child in the school has an artwork out there of some sort. Each grade level did a certain medium, like kindergarten did wooden pieces of sea stars, and they painted on them that another local artist cut for us. We also had a ceramics artist here on the island that helped us with the clay pieces, which fourth grade did, like sea urchins and things like that. Fifth grade did printmaking, which was the textural piece in the background, and they were also, I selected 12 apprentices for that out of the fifth grade, so that was, you know, good for them to earn that. And I think first and second grade had collages, which are really cute. We did a lot of painted paper, huge pieces. We worked very large, which they loved. And then those were transferred onto the wall. And Ms. Stonberg actually painted those pieces. She replicated the collages onto the wall, but in their style, and it looks just like the kids. Like, she used a digital platform for that. And third grade did the ecosystem underwater, like the corals and the rocks, and they also did collages, but their focus was the ecosystem, where, like I should have said, first and second was the marine animals. So when you see it, I can point out what the collages represented. But it was quite an undertaking. We did it it started in October of last year, meaning classroom sessions, and they went through February, I think, of last year, give or take February. And the kids were excited every time. It was so good for them to have interaction with something that they could see the end result and live with through their years here at Carolina Beach, especially the kindergartners that are going to be here for the 6 years. The fifth graders, that's why we wanted to give them the apprenticeships, because they were going to be graduating, and their names are painted on the wall too. So, but yeah, we got the grant. It was a $15,000 grant, and we just went to work. It was just basically that's what it was. It was a great lesson plan, and amongst my regular ones, and it was very exciting, very colorful, very integrated with, of course, science and things like that, because we had a marine life, such a focus on the marine life. So, and being here on the island, the kids are very knowledgeable about the beach and the ocean, so it was perfect.
That's great. Yeah, it's really fun. You kind of already mentioned it, but I wanted to ask, did you create the artist, did they create a proposal image or outline to get approved by administrators? Did you guys have to go and kind of juggle permission with your principal, or was it more of a kind of went as you went?
Oh, we was very organized because we had to go through the North Carolina Arts Council. So there was a formal grant. You're probably familiar, North Carolina Arts Council offers grants for working artists like Ms. Sonberg, that she could propose something to work with the public, and she chose a school. So she had to go through Miss Angel, and then I had to be in the grant too, because it couldn't be an arts education grant, because it is an arts education grant, unless she worked with an arts educator.
Mm-hmm.
So there were those three components of admin, local artists, and arts educator that had to be fulfilled in order to receive the grant. So yes, we met many times. They had to do new lighting out there, so the county was involved with, which was great. And we had a lot of volunteers, fathers here that are like technicians and things, which was so nice. It really became very interwoven with the community, as well as the Arts Council, which I think they really liked, that it was very community-based, especially for arts education with smaller, younger children, because not many K through 5 schools do a mural on that scale. They, maybe in larger cities, but we haven't really had one down here. I
So,
don't remember.
instead of being like a burden of having to jump through hoops and get permission, it was almost like more people are drawn into it because of all the process.
Right, and the process was very laid out because it was a grant that everything had to be checked off. I mean, it was very organized. You meet with admin, is it approved? Make sure you have an arts educator. She wrote the grant, the local artist wrote the grant, and then we had to go back through that and make sure we could fulfill all of the grant proposals. So she was awarded the grant, well, we as a whole, but it's specifically her because she received the grant money. I think it was about July before we started. What would that be, 24? The July before we started, yeah, that fall. So it was a process. It was a big process. But she was, like I said, very knowledgeable about murals and grant writing. So that was really the easy part.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Great. How did you handle materials management of all these different components?
Well, we were actually quite organized. The main thing was she had a budget for materials, which was nice, and then sometimes, just being in the art room, we would throw some things in, but she could buy the clay for the urchins, and she used her own painted papers, where she would just bring really large pieces of paper that was painted with outdoor paint, so it had this great type of texture to it. It's very kind of heavy, but it was really fun for the kids to work and easy to cut because of the thickness. So she brought that, and the printmaking, we used recycled materials, which was a big component of the 5th grade collection, because they used anything that we could find. We wanted to go out to the ocean and out to the beach and pick up found objects, but the good thing is there wasn't as much as we thought, which I think was really great. Yeah. So we had to start the kids would bring things in, which was another component that they got excited about. Mom, don't, throw away that egg carton, or don't, which was just a whole other cool way of the found object component of art. And, bubble wrap and those little red bags that like mandarin oranges come in, the
yeah,
netting.
Oh, yeah.
And then I had just things in the art room, you know, from like some basketry that we took apart or whatever, and a lot of bottle caps. I have a good collection of bottle caps because we knew that those things would be on the beach. We tried to keep reminding, like, what did you see on the beach? And then they made a plate and made a little design with the recycled pieces. And then we, of course, painted over top, and they just did a monotype. They just took another piece of paper and, you know, a monotype, and then rubbed it with their hands. And when they pulled it off, there was a print from the plate. And we used those texturals, which you'll see in the mural, those textures for the background, so it incorporated environmental awareness with the marine life, and also gave the mural texture. So they kind of had the more cerebral, I guess we could say, effect of from K through 5. You know, I mean, K painted little. You'll see those, the starfish, and so we went all the way up to printmaking. Make sure there was a skill level that we hit through each grade level that was, you know, appropriate for their age group.
Yeah.
And 5th graders are graduating, you know, they're going on to Murray, and, you know, they're there. I mean, once they enter, I mean, by about October, I mean, my curriculum for them is like almost a different entity from K through 4, because they're just ready, you know. So that was a good project for them, was printmaking. We had all kinds of things just laying all over the place, built, got these plates. It was really cool. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. What kind of curricular, you've kind of already talked about this, but what kind of curricular connections were you able to make with the mural?
Well, I would say with kindergarten, starting with the really young ones, their motor skills, which in the digital world, as you know, you're a high school teacher and I'm the foundations, the young one, that, you know, we noticed that motor skills are a lot different than even 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So cutting and gluing and even making that connection of arranging a collage, having that visual, like looking at something. We tried to use realism all the time, like we really looked at fish, you know, or we really looked at, we used our recordix board, underwater, real coral, not anything that was cartoonish or anything like that. They're so used to from digital life, you know, the iPad. So that was a good thing for their learning process, is that they use their visuals from real life visuals. And kindergarten really got to paint, that we used like sponge, little dot sponges, so they could do the little dots from the how a starfish always has little, you know, little things that grow on them, little barnacle. And also they had a form, a 3-dimensional form that was wood cut, and they used a roller, so they were really learning how to use their patience, which is big at that age, and really learning how to roll out that texture nice and, you know, clean, not bumpy. And they get so excited, you know, in the first place, but I could just really see their whole like being going, oh, you know, if I slow down a little bit, or if I wipe the paint off, you know, I can really see a change in the way the texture rolls over the sea star. So they got really attached to their sea star, and then they can see it because they're out there. Yeah.
I feel like along with the patience, perseverance, because things don't go the right way at the beginning, and then to kind of work through that frustration, that perseverance also probably showed up a lot as well.
Well, that's probably every grade level, because so many kids want that, as you probably know too, instant gratification.
Magic.
In this time of touch the button.
Yep.
Yeah, and then there is, and I'm always doing the Rome wasn't built in a day. What's Connor? But I say it all the time. It's like, we would not have, when we talk about Leonardo or somebody, we would not have this, you know. I mean, he didn't even have an iPad, you know. What, 1400? They can't even comprehend the 1400s. You know, I mean, it's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
And but you got to start them young. And so that, so how much more long do we have to work? Do we have to do this? Excuse me. And and then it got to be, are we working on that again?
Yeah.
So that kind of barrier broke between, okay, I just want to get this done with, you know, like they do when they come in here on a regular basis. What are we going to make today? You know, they want a product right at the end, which is very elementary, which is fine, and I know that's okay. But as they move forward, third, fourth, fifth, you know, their projects, you know, last a couple maybe classes, because I see them once a week. But the little ones definitely want that instant gratification. But that C star, they were like, well, we got to paint that first. We had a really smart kindergarten class last year. And actually, it was probably the first class since COVID that we had really seen a change and prepare kids that are prepared to come into kindergarten. So, what was I saying? They started to realize, or the light bulb went off, that there's a few steps before we get to the end, and they could see them drying on my racks, and they could walk in and say, "There's my sea star," you know, to their little buddy or whatever, and that became a strong suit of what, as we know, art takes is time, perseverance, patience, and we got to have that quality. We have to have that craftsmanship, because this is going to be, you know, a mural, and that teaches them the craftsmanship even in the classroom. But little kids take a lot of it's very powerful. Art is very powerful to them, because I mean, we're born innately to be creative. As you know, I know everybody knows that, but when you really see it from a young age, being the art teacher or the music teacher, whatever genre that's in, but it's mainly music and art in elementary, that they come in here ready to draw and paint and, you know, get messy and stick their fingers in things, and because they want to have that tangible thing. So I don't do a whole lot of digital things with them. I still keep it very hands-on, very, the whole process is very important. And
it's an experience, not
right.
Just
It's very
something to show
experiential.
off.
Exactly. And whatever they come up with is their expression, and it's not good, bad, wrong, you know, right. It's your expression. I really try to focus that with them. That's your art, so they, you know, feel good about themselves, and they're proud of what they've done, and they believe in themselves. That's what I really want young people to believe in themselves in the art, because some children come in that have high anxiety, and they don't have, you know, it perfect. The project, say it's a little collage or something, or a little drawing or something, and they look across, and somebody, of course, you know, most likely just has more of the DNA, or innately, especially that young, which just has artistic abilities, then they find that competition maybe, or just that lack of, not competition, that lack of esteem. And as they keep coming in and working, and I can see that pretty early, you see tears, and you just have to stay on it and show them, and those light bulbs start to come off, and those little smiles, and then they feel really good when they walk in. And art is powerful. You and I know that. It is powerful, and it starts so young, because there's no right or wrong. I always tell them that there's nothing right or wrong. You are not getting a grade on this. You're not getting tested on this. This is your expression. And they walk out with their little whatever they've made, and it's like being the, you know, the line leader in kindergarten. That's the most powerful thing in the world.
Yeah.
So that's why I keep coming back. It's just to see those light bulbs and smiles, and the artwork is always so cute.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's always a joy. Just
Yes,
to
it's
even
a joy.
see.
Good word. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Were there any safety concerns, such as ladders or fumes from the paint or anything like that?
No, we didn't use anything toxic, and we didn't use any ladders in here. The artist used her ladders out in the hallway. Even when the apprentices, the fifth graders, were working out there with her, everything was non-toxic paint out in this outdoor house paints that were not toxic. Was very well versed in all of that too, because I think that was part of the grant actually, that she had to make sure that there wasn't anything toxic. And you and I know, well, we can't use spray paints or anything, you know, so so it didn't have, it was all brush related and or rollers.
Did the artist put like a sealant on it afterwards or something to kind of help preserve it?
She did, yeah. The apprentices only painted, she would give them, like she made, draw out and give them an image, and then they would paint the image. But at the finishing touches and adhering the clay pieces and all that, she did that on her own. So, just like I said, she's very accomplished, so she knew how to finish all that in a timely and very, it's just, the craftsmanship is very, very nice. So we're glad that it was, you know, we went through it. It was basically almost a 2-year situation, between, like you were talking about, that administrative part, the grant writing, the accepting the grant, you know, all of that, and then the production came in, and coordinating that was a big part of my job, you know, was making sure that the classes were prepared and all of that organizational skills. It's like school with our outdoor art tables, pre-hurricane. Yeah, we don't have anything.
What were students' reactions to the unveiling of the mural?
That was something else. Actually, parents came, of course, from the apprentices, and community was, Carolina Beach is big in community, like we've talked about. So they were invited. Dr. Barnes came, Krista came, some of the board members came. Of course, TV was here, WCT, all of those things. And we put up some nice papers to really make it unveiling.
To like hide it.
The whole, it was big. And Miss Angel, our principal, was back there early in the morning making sure there was like a little video, which was really great, of the process, the classroom process. So we had all that documented, which was really a good touch. So once the papers were ripped down, and Ms. Stomberg and I were there, and Miss Angel had the video going, and the kids went up, the apprentices went up and kind of pointed out what they had done, and also explained, not just themselves, but the other grade levels they were really a part of, explaining the whole process, which I thought was good for them to share that as kind of graduating 5th graders, but also the fact that they could, you know, explain what had happened, which is important as, you know, with curricula, that they understood what they'd learned with me all those years.
Oh, clips.
Yay! Yeah, and that they could express themselves, you know. We had a couple of people from the New Hanover County School media people that came and did some videos, and they did a really great job promoting the arts education factor of it being, you know, supported through a grant, and the importance of it being in the art room, and the importance of it meaning not on a cart, meaning in an art room at an elementary level, because that is, you know, there's not many of us that are lucky enough to have one. I've been on both, that I've told you before, and it is challenging, and to have some sort of a program, workshop like this, there would be no way we could have done it without the space. So that was a beauty in showing that this is the type of things we can do if we have space in the arts. So anyway, the unveiling went fantastic. It was great. I mean, everybody was excited. We had got so much coverage between the regular news and also, like I said, New Hanover County School media. Dr. Barnes was really great, just being there and supportive of the arts, which is meaningful, as we know, as arts educators. Our superintendent is all for it, and that was powerful. So it's just like a little party on the island, as it always is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I first saw it first on the news. I saw it. I was like, oh, that's amazing,
Yeah.
wonderful. And then I also saw it on like social media through the school system. I was like,
Yes.
oh, this is in every different
That
places.
was powerful to me,
Yeah.
that the school system was so supportive of young people, the foundations, which we're going to try and take some sort of initiative with recruitment. I've learned over this year which is so wonderful that you and I are sitting here together, because I'm elementary, you're all the way to high school, and that we're having a relationship here that what I do, builds into what you receive, and that's very important for us as arts educators, that our relationships are developed. I think Chris is really going to emphasize that this year, which I think is really, really powerful. Maybe we could also even have little shows, or some of the older kids could come down and help us in the studio, or just come up with some ideas. But that would be really a good thing to show the young people that you can continue in middle school and high school, and there are career in the arts, and
It's like being part of the art community. It's like a community that follows through with you. You're not ever
Yeah.
going to be alone. You can always find somebody that
Right.
is connected to the arts in some way.
Right, and even the different genres, you may leave elementary school and go to Murray and dive into the drama, and be a set designer that's still, be with the sets and still be working in the art, visual, but in a different type of category. And I don't know, I'm all for it, so I'm really glad you came down here. Yeah.
Thanks. You're going to leave the best job.
Yeah, I know. It's not
Don't
so
tell
hard.
anybody. And then my last question, do you have anything you do differently for next time?
For the mural?
For the mural in general, just anything that you're like, oh, could have planned for this, wish you could have, just anything.
More time.
Mm.
I think that would have been easier, but that's always with
Yeah.
artwork. Maybe if we had had some more materials that could have been donated, but we really have a lot of support on Carolina Beach from Island's Arts Council, from the Island Women. Our people on the island love Carolina Beach schools, so I really don't have that much of something that we would do differently, except for probably time, and if we could have, maybe more recycled materials would have helped. But that was kind of we had to go with what we had, because we thought we'd find more on the beach, which ended up being a positive.
So
But
these are
it
beaches.
maybe if we had started earlier and asked for donations for those things, not knowing that we thought that the beach walk wouldn't be as, we wouldn't find anything. So that was a positive. That was bittersweet, I guess we could say. So, but other than that, it went really well. Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me interview you about the mural and the whole process and everything, and I hope that everybody's able to enjoy insight on everything that went into it.
Yeah. Thank you, Nicola.
Thanks.